The Rum of the Mist show that you are currently tuned into will begin in about 5 minutes. Until then, enjoy this wonderful tune.
Why does a good man have to die? Another piece of shit to be born. Reasons unheard of tearing my flesh. My heart is ripped, my soul is torn.
Rum of the Mist podcast with your host, Chris Stolle, presented by Rum of the Mist Entertainment. Hey, what's up, everybody? Chris Stolle here with my co-hosts, Venus.
Hey.
And the moaning one, Brian Miller.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. All right, guys, you may have noticed that this episode was not live. We're having some sort of internet technical difficulty. So, obviously, this week, this episode will be pre-recorded and uploaded tonight to you guys. So, you're still going to get it tonight. Just, you don't get to hang out with us as we do it. But, you know what that means? That means that pretty much anything fucking goes now, because now I really don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much in the way of news tonight, so we may be playing with a little experimentation in the second hour. But in the first hour, let's go ahead and jump into it. I'll let you guys decide. Do you want politics first or entertainment first?
Politics.
Yeah, let's get the politics out of the way.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off with a sweet little deal. All you potheads and stoners out there, you'll be thrilled to know that the company that makes Jelly Belly is intending to release marijuana jelly beans. Jelly beans infused with the, what is it, the CBD or...
CBD.
Yeah,
Yeah, CBD beans.
And basically the oils and stuff of that nature. Unclear if it's going to be pot flavored or if it's going to be just hidden in, like, typical fruit
Butter flavored
flavors and shit. Yeah. You know, so... I'll make this quick because I'll let you guys hash this one out. Forgive the pun in that statement. Mine's very simple. There's enough fucking brain dead stoners. I say no. Plus the fact I'm thinking this is a fucking candy. It gets in the hands of kids. No, absolutely not. Zero. No, zero tolerance.
Well, it'd be so easy to hide it too. You know what I mean? Like, kid gets a hold of them, takes them to school. You know what I mean? Oh, they're just jelly beans. You know what I mean? Like, it's just... That doesn't seem like a good idea to me. This seems like a counterproductive practice.
Yeah, but CBD doesn't get you high.
But it's also...
So what's the point of it then?
It has no medical purpose. I mean,
CBD does. It's a pain relief.
CBD
It's a pain reliever. Like you could safely take CBD, like in any amount, pretty much, and it's just like a painkiller. Like I have CBD oils. It's mixed with coconut oil, and I use it for like sore muscles and stuff and whatever. Like it has no like high effects. Like you're not going to get high from it.
Okay, but my question,
and it's safe for you as well.
Right, but my question isn't the fact that CBD is or is not an agent that gets you high. My question is, if its purpose is medicinal, why is it in a fucking candy? Why isn't it in adult Tylenol, for the sake of argument?
They sell that stuff. You could buy it online. They have CBD gummies already, and they sell it like it's all packaged saying this has CBD in it. Like this is a marijuana product. Like keep out of the reach of children. The same as they do for like Tylenol and stuff. They've been selling that stuff for years, and no one's had an issue with it yet. Like nobody. It's not quite legal, even in Canada, but nobody does like jack shit about it. I mean, it's not illegal to the point where you're going to go to jail or anything. So people just, like, you can honestly, I could send you guys a website. Like, you'd be amazed by the stuff you can order online, like fucking marijuana products and stuff.
I wouldn't be surprised on that. I know there's a bunch of idiots that sell anything online. I used to sell shit on eBay. Trust me, I know people sell everything online. But the fact of the matter is, my problem with this is putting it into a candy. Not like a daily gummy, not like I was saying, like an over-the-counter drug for adults that does have things like keep out of reach of children. But we're talking about Jelly Belly. I mean, Jelly Belly targets kids so much that they came out with Harry Potter's freaking Birdie Bots Every Flavor beans to promote Harry Potter because kids loved the fact that you can get a jelly bean that tastes like earthworms and vomit and barf.
And earwax.
Yeah. You know, and earwax. And you're now going to put this product, which whether beneficial for medical reasons or not, into the hands of children. You can't tell me this is not targeted towards hands of children, and it doesn't need to be there. I'm against this 120,000%.
Well, see, I've had CBD type of stuff around my house. My kids are fucking idiots. If you have Drano under the sink, you tell your kids, don't touch that Drano. It's bad for you, and they're not going to touch it. So my kids didn't touch that type of stuff. Like, not like I ever had a lot, but, you know, like a buddy would give me a gummy or something to be sitting around. Like, obviously not in their reach or anything, but still, it'd be like, just whatever you do, don't eat these. Like, it was a pretty educational to be like, this contains marijuana. It's not for you type of it's not for you guys. If it doesn't come in a bag that specifically says, you know, Skittles and nothing else, and you buy it from a vending machine or from a corner store, that's safe. Anything else, if it says this on it, don't eat it. If it says that on it, don't eat it. So it's pretty educational, and they learned pretty quickly not to touch that stuff.
Right, but you got to ask yourself, at least I'm asking myself, if they're going to be putting this type of stuff into a product as mundane as a jelly bean, is that the next logical step that they make it where it's over-the-counter connection? We lost Brian, by the way. Over-the-counter candies that you could buy while you're standing in line at a supermarket, or as you said, in a vending machine. Is that the next logical step for this? I mean, is this the world we're going to live in now where everything's going to be pot-laced?
No, I think you should still have to buy it, like at a marijuana store or something. Like, I think Ontario was supposed to have the LCBO selling it. Well, a kid can't go to the LCBO and buy it, first off. They now have, like, weed dispensaries all across Canada. You walk in there, and the moment you get in there, like, you do get ID'd. If you're not old enough to be in there, you have to leave. So they're not selling this stuff to kids. They're not allowed to sell it to kids. So if kids get their hands on it, it's because of negligent parents.
Well, I guess that's fair enough. But, I mean, negligent parents, notwithstanding, you got to think of it this way. And I'm going to use an example. Like, when I was 11 years old, I started smoking cigarettes. And I was able to get a hold of the cigarettes through a vending machine at a holiday supermarket that was not very well, you know, guarded. That obviously the supermarket's fault. And then when I was 13, I had a friend that I would send out to the bar to get me 40s, you know, and stuff of that nature. If kids want it, it's not necessarily the parents not regulating the children. It's the fact that if they want it that bad, there's ways they're going to get it.
Yeah, but it's already been available for years, and we don't really see kids taking it very often. And like, it's more, like CBD is directly more used for pharmaceutical purposes over recreational purposes, just because like old people use it for arthritis and stuff and whatnot. So they're not taking it for the high reason. And like, if you're worried about kids getting high, you don't really have to worry about that. The worst that's going to happen is they're just going to get super relaxed and pass out. And that's probably about it.
I mean, that's fair enough. I personally, as a father, as somebody who really, I teeter on the whole entire legalization of marijuana. I really do, because of the.
It's a safer product, though.
It's not.
Like, it really is.
It really isn't. It really isn't. Not in any way, shape, or form.
It's not bad. Prove to me in one instance where CBD turned out to be bad for anyone.
a single joint of marijuana contains more tar than 3 packs of cigarettes, and that's been proven by the CDC. So
That's not
again,
CBD though. And that's honestly from smoking it. But anything that you smoke is going to have its own downfalls. It's smoke, and that's what's smoke in your lungs regardless.
also alters brain chemistry, affects abilities to drive or operate machineries, and doing it too much can kill brain cells. If you want proof of that, talk to anybody who smokes from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed. Usually sound like a burnout, like, well, man. Yeah, there's a reason for that. It's because they killed brain cells. And I'm making the same. I'm not saying that they shouldn't legalize it, but it has to be heavily fucking regulated. And I agree with it for like medical purposes, but this just, let's make it as available as fucking, candy, which is ironic since Jelly Belly wants to make a candy of it, is wrong. To me, it's not a safer product than cigarettes or alcohol. It has the same types of effects in one way, shape, or form or another, maybe different than cigarettes or alcohol, but it still has effects. It's still altering your brain chemistry. It still can be an addictive product to people who have addictive personalities. The arguments that they normally that the weed smokers normally try to use is not 100% accurate and correct.
Okay, so you're going to be arguing with someone who's actually been advocating. I went to like a few court cases and everything. I've worked with doctors, politicians, researchers, and everything on the whole marijuana issue. So we could go there, but it's going to be an hour-long show on this then.
That's fine. I don't mind because I may not have fought for advocating it, but I can definitely go from personal experience. It's been around me my whole entire life, and it's something that I absolutely have a deep-seated hatred for. If you want to be real, again, I accept it for its medical ramifications. Although half the time with some of the things that they claim that it does medically, I think it's just because you got too stoned that you don't notice it anymore. But
that's the same with painkillers too, right?
And I don't think painkillers are. No, I don't.
Like synthetic heroin. Like I think CBD is a lot safer for you than synthetic heroin. People overdose on synthetic heroin. You're not going to overdose on CBD. You're going to have a nice relaxed back or something. You're going to be able to move your hands again. Yeah, you could say that you could be high because of it, but I mean, you could also compare it to pharmaceuticals at the same time. And I mean, pharmaceuticals don't cure it. It gives you temporary relief of it.
Well, that's fair, and in that aspect, like I don't agree with the opioid thing or the synthetic heroin. I say take painkillers off the market too and muscle relaxers because they are addictive chemicals. But the difference between the products that we're talking about now and things like Percocet or Vicodin is the fact that Vicodin and Percocet are heavily regulated. Marijuana is not. If you want to put it in a pill form and make it where only a pharmacist can prescribe it, give it to you after a doctor has prescribed it to you, absolutely. Head shops, no.
But honestly, to get these type of things already, you pretty much need to go through either through a Compassion Club, which is set up. That actually it's regulated also. They have so many things by Health Canada and stuff, so many regulations that they have to follow. So much of this, so much of that. Like, yeah, they're heavily guarded by like pharmaceutical companies already. They have certain mandates that they have to follow. You have in order to buy medical marijuana, you need a prescription to buy that. In order to get CBD, you need a prescription to get that pretty much. So they're not just going to be handing candy out like candy. It's going to be a lot harder to get it than that. It's not illegal, I don't think. I've never seen anyone arrested for like CBD, but I mean, they're making it illegal to use as a treatment medically, or they're taking the patent for it, which is like crazy. But if you want to make a pill, like they've got those, and they're just THC pills, like bad stuff for you again. Concentrated THC, probably not the best thing. Concentrates in Canada are still illegal, like hash, shatter. Those are still illegal. So there's really strict laws when they make something like that. So it's going to be like really hard for anyone to even get these jelly beans. They're not going to be giving it to their kids.
Well, some people might. That's a problem. But that may be parents that maybe, whatever.
Their kids are on Percocets or whatever, and they're trying alternative medicine. Like, yeah, that would make sense. Like, I'm not going to condone parents for doing that either.
But here's the difference, and I feel for the audience's sake, before Venus continues, I am not a big pharma supporter. Obviously, I think big pharma is nothing but the biggest con artist scam in the world. Okay, the drug prices are fucking outrageous, and of course that the fact that they're most are really addictive, like Venus said, with being basically synthetic heroin and purposely designed to be a dependent drug. In other words, they tell you don't use it because you can get addicted, but they want you fucking addicted to it. It's a catch-22. It's a scam. I am not against medical marijuana. Well, I'm not against medical marijuana, period. I'm against recreational marijuana. I'm against fucking stoners. Okay. But when it comes to my arguments on certain aspects of medical marijuana, it isn't because I'm a big pharma supporter. I'm not. It's because I question the validity of the application of the product, and how it's handled and regulated through the healthcare industry, through the governments. I say governments because Venus is from Canada. I'm from the United States. Two different governments. So please understand that. I know a lot. Right now I'm going to be getting comment sections down below. It's like, oh, fucking square, fucking straight edge. Fuck you. I used to smoke pot, okay? I smoked it so much.
You're right.
I smoked so much that I wouldn't fucking get high anymore. I just got the munchies and ready to go to take a nap. I know what pot does. It's not like I'm somebody that never did it before, so it's the devil. I've done it. I know what it does. I know what it can do. I've seen what it's done to others. I've seen what it's done to people that don't have addictive personalities. I've seen it to people that have addictive personalities. I've seen it act as a gateway drug to people that needed that extra fix because it became not enough. The fact of the matter is, yes, it is individual to people, how it affects them. But that's neither here nor there. My dislike of the marijuana product industry is that it is not heavily controlled and regulated in some way, shape, or form to make sure that it is being used in the proper way.
Oh, you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. But when I think about like the medicinal uses of it. Like, yes, it's not going to permanently fix you. It's going to be working while you're using it. Like my ex-boyfriend died of epilepsy, and he used to have like really bad grand mal seizures. And like when he would smoke pot, like he would like calm the fuck down. Like he would be normal and stuff and whatever. And he wouldn't have seizures. And he like towards the end of his life, like he was having massive seizures. Like at least one every a couple a week and stuff. And like I straight up told his mom, I'm like, look, when he smokes this, like he's got a way lower risk of having a seizure. Like I know this for a fact, and I wasn't even smoking weed. I used to advocate for weed, and I wasn't even smoking weed. So yeah, no, because it was people's choice, right? I mean, you're an adult, you can do what you want, pretty much. Plus, I got to learn all the medical stuff about it. Worked with great people. I mean, it was good. I used to be a huge fucking stoner back in the day, but fortunately I stopped all that. But yeah, like they have different strands and stuff. Like there's been lots of research done on it. You have to actually find some of it. Lots of it is like still secretive, or it's like said that it doesn't work. No, like it works. If you know what you're doing, it works. Like sorry, just give me a minute here. Yeah, so different strains. Yeah, so we have indica strains, and that's like a downer type of thing. That's good for different things as compared to sativa, like an upper type of thing. And that's good for ADHD and whatnot. I have ADHD, so...
Yeah, don't get me started on ADHD. I think that's... I have my own personal views on ADHD. And I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. But I mean, like it like they give you meth for that. They give you a byproduct of meth for ADHD.
I know they give you Adderall, and back in the day they used to give you Ritalin. I know.
Yeah.
And they're
So
basically speed. I know.
yeah, so if you're gonna like smoke a little bit of weed here and there, I mean, I see no issue with it at all. Like if it works and if it works like just as good or better than fucking meth, then by all means do it. Do it. Like you're doing yourself a favor in the long run.
Well, see that's kind of why I have my own personal opinion of ADHD. I was diagnosed as ADD, not ADHD, because I wouldn't pay attention in school. And, it was like 7th grade or whatever the case may be, and they put me on Ritalin. And according to my mother, because I don't really remember this all too well, probably because I was fucking stoned on Ritalin.
Probably.
According to her, like when I took the pill, I was basically zombified. I was fucking laser focused on whatever it was I was doing, which was great because it means I was paying attention, doing what I was supposed to do, whatever. But sooner or later, and very docile, but as soon as I came off of it, I became violent, agitated. It's literally coming off of speed. You become violent. You become uncontrollable.
Yeah, you get the withdrawals and stuff. Like I could honestly compare that with weed again. Like I know how much you hate weed and stuff, but with weed you're not gonna like get that. But you're gonna have like the same brain mentality, like come back, but you're not gonna have the withdrawals. The withdrawals are probably the worst when you're taking pharmaceuticals, but you stop smoking weed, you can space it out, take a puff when you need it or something. I think it's just way less damaging than like pharmaceuticals that they're giving people.
Oh, by the way, moral of the story, later on they retested me at St. Christopher's Hospital and found out that I really didn't have ADD. What it was, the reason I was disruptive in class and everything else is because I was fucking bored. I already knew the curriculum. I was above the fucking classroom things. I think it was like I was in 5th grade or whatever, or not 5th grade, 7th grade, and I was already in college level knowledge with things. I already knew what they were teaching. I was bored. I wasn't attention deficit disorder. I was bored. Give me a challenge, and I was able to do what I needed to do. So, I think not only is it, I think, all right, I'll say it straight out, and I apologize for anybody that suffers to it. I'll apologize. I'm fair enough to apologize for it. Let's put it that way. But my personal view of it, I think ADD and ADHD is a bullshit medical term to sell pills. I think 9 times out of 10 there is some other reason for the quote-unquote attention deficit other than just some brain chemical disorder.
It sounds like they're just trying to dumb you down. Like ADD and ADHD, like you have super intelligence. It's just you're very selective in which direction you put it. Like in grade 1, like I was smart like you. I was reading at a grade 8 level. I was in enrichment programs. I got to skip school and go on secretive selective field trips and stuff. And I would do great in that and then come back to school and still do my schoolwork. Like I barely did any of my work in high school and I still passed when it came to exams or something. I'm just like, I'm not doing this because it's fucking boring as well. But when it came to tests and shit, I fucking passed them. So I passed all my courses in high school. And yeah, so what are they doing? Dumbing people down with these medications, saying you're too smart, and that's the issue. We're gonna diagnose you with ADHD or something, and then give you these pills so you're fucking mellowed out, and you're not you're doing what we tell you to because you wouldn't do what we told you before because you know better.
Well, here,
is that an issue?
I got something to propose. Let me pick your brain on this one here. Okay. Let's pick an alternative of ADD and ADHD. As you said, most of us who were diagnosed with it in some way, shape, or form, the first thing they want to do is give you a fucking pill, and let's be real about that here. Maybe the problem is, and I don't necessarily know how the school system is in Canada, but I know here in the United States, it's kindergarten through 12th grade for normal school, I guess what they would call preparatory school in England or whatever the case may be. But basically from kindergarten to 12th grade, that's 13 years of schooling. Mandatory. Yeah. 13 years of schooling. Now, we talked about this on It Had to Be Said before. You take those 13 years of schooling and you look at it, and everything you need for normal use in the everyday world, you learn by the 6th grade. Half of that has already been destroyed. Half of that schooling has already been eliminated of not necessary unless you're going to be pursuing particular fields of study.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question. Is maybe part of the reason that ADD, especially since most of us fall out in high school, that's where like really most of us become very disruptive or start cutting class or whatever the case may be. Maybe because there's too many years of school. Maybe we should cut down from 13 years to 8, 9 years of schooling or something of that type to maybe and focus the curriculum more on not just your general reading, writing, arithmetic, but also like bring back home economics, teach people how to fucking cook and balance their fucking budget, pay bills, pay taxes, things that you need for everyday real life.
Exactly. Like, why don't they, like, people, like kids that have difficulty paying attention in school and stuff, and, you know, they're getting these ADHD diagnoses and stuff, they're obviously not doing well in school. And if you put someone in an environment that they're not going to excel at, they're obviously going to do very bad at. So why not take them out and be like, okay, you know, for your high school, you have 4 years of an apprenticeship in this or something. Or for the next 4 years, you're going to be like a sub teacher or whatever, a student teacher. Or why don't we get you doing this or something, you know, and not even necessarily getting paid because it would still be part of the education system. But they would walk out with like a degree. And people that want to like go to college and stuff, like, yeah, that's great. But why don't we get these kids with more hands-on stuff, actually doing things, instead of like having to repeat this information because they're bound to fail.
Well, that's exactly my point. Like, if say by 8th grade you know everything you need to know in school for general life, okay. So that's literally for United States elementary school and middle school. That's you know, kindergarten through 8th grade. So you got 9, 10, 11, and 12, which is high school. Here's my proposal. For those that want to pursue particular careers or college, give them the typical high school equivalency of it. You know, let them learn algebra, trigonometry, and the things like that normal people would never use in everyday life. For the people that would not excel in those types of environments, treat high school like a fucking trade school. Teach them a trade. Open up automotive or building maintenance or nursing, those types of things, and have that 4 years spent on building a skill that they can use when they walk out of high school.
Following a police officer around or following a nurse around or something like that, you know, just getting them out of that like mundane, like having to sit there, because you can't sit there if you're not interested. If you've got, and if you want to call someone to be diagnosed with ADD, ADHD, you cannot sit there and focus on what you're bored at. Why aren't they taking these kids out like in like tree planting or something, you know, having like an off summer course and going out and like doing forestry or something, you know, having them volunteer for like, and getting credits for it, and like volunteering for the town to like beautification or something for the town, you know, working on random things. Like, why is there not enough outlets for this and we're just drugging kids instead?
No, that's exactly it. The problem with the education system today is it's geared towards making you go to college because you're being force-fed from fucking like 3rd grade that if you don't go to college and get a degree, you will never succeed in this world. That is bullshit. There are a shit ton of small business owners, whether it be like construction, general contracting, store owners, stuff like that never went to college, and they are more than comfortable in their lives. Are they fucking Donald Trump or Bill Gates? No. But are they living comfortable lives and doing a job that they enjoy and making a comfortable living to afford home, car, family? Yes, they are. So right there, your education is being based on a lie that you must have college. And then to top it off, you're not being taught to learn. You're being taught to pass tests. Standardized testing has ruined the education system. Instead of teaching somebody to be taught, to have the lesson, to have a skill, it's just being taught to be able to pass the next test.
Like they're not being taught to like dispute this information. Nobody's being taught to have to go validate it. Here's your textbook. This is the truth. This is what you have to learn. This is what you have to believe. And it's like, well, like again, like kids with ADHD and ADD, they want to dispute this. They want to know why it's fact. They want to know exactly how it works out, how exactly you got there from point A to point B. They want to see the whole picture with every little detail in it. They want to see the whole where's Waldo picture. Find Waldo, be like, Waldo's beside this girl, to the left of this guy, to the downwards of this guy, and on this axis here. And that's where Waldo is. And if you look at it from far away, he is about left center corner or something. Like, that's what they want to do. Like, they've got like vivid fucking minds, and they're able to do this stuff. But it's like, no, where's Waldo? Circle Waldo. Look closely at the picture and find him. Well, it's like there's so many details and so many patterns that like kids with ADD and ADHD could find and point out, but they're being told that's wrong. Like, even in certain math situations, like I have a buddy who actually did. I don't know if you did math differently, like your times tables or anything different, Chris, but I did. I have a buddy with ADD that used to do that, and they're like, no, it's wrong. You have the right answer, but you did it wrong. Well, How the fuck is it wrong then?
The way I do it was the way I was taught in school, and they've changed it. I can't do the math. I can't do general math that my 10-year-old is doing in school because they've changed the way they do it. Dividing and everything else, like they started making these fucking like square graphs and everything else. It's like, what happened to long division? That was the easiest way to figure it out. What happened to long division? Now we're doing like fucking pie charts and shit with it? Really?
And like, how relevant is the pie chart? Like, you're gonna bore even more kids. Well, you're really setting them up for more failure.
Well, here's the thing: when they tell you they want you to show the work, and I look at something like long division as opposed to short division, and the way we used to do it, carry over, drop down, all that type of stuff, right? And then I watch the way like my 10-year-old does it, and the way they taught them in school. It's more work the way they're doing it to get to the same result.
Like that's gonna bore more kids. You know how many more cases of ADD and ADHD they've had since I was a kid? Like triple the amount. No fucking wonder why. Like you're like, they're not robots. Like we both know. Like if you've got like ADHD or ADD, you've got a mind that works and functions. It over functions. You don't want to be a robot and have to sit there and be like, I have to do it like this. You're like, if I can find a new creative way to do it, which will save me time and energy, I want to be able to do it that way. Which they normally do find. And then it's like, you did it wrong. We can't pass you. Are you fucking kidding me? You're going to pass the kid who does fuck all, but I have a new ingenuitive way of doing it, and I'm wrong.
See, the thing is that they don't want to. There was a comedian named George Carlin, and before I get into this, I just want to let you know Brian lost power. That's why we lost Brian. He's waiting for the neighborhood to get power back, and
he's having the worst day ever.
Yeah, he is having the worst day ever. So, guys, he unfortunately, we lost him due to a power outage in his area. So, as soon as the power's back, he's going to try to get back on. So, keep an ear out for him. But where I was going, there used to be a comedian. I'm sure you know who he is. Everybody pretty much knows who he is, George Carlin. And he said it absolutely best. The education system is designed for making us just smart enough. They want us just smart enough to be able to file the paperwork and to do the jobs and everything else, but not smart enough to question shit and to be able to realize that we're getting fucked by the system, by the big club that we're not a part of. And it's absolutely true. They don't want a generation. They don't want many generations of free thinkers. That's why colleges indoctrinate people into stupid shit like socialism. That's why the elementary schools and the middle schools and the high schools are geared towards college. They want you to think you're smart, but you're not. You are a sheep part of the status quo, and that is how they are training you. And that's wrong.
Clearly, because we could have so many, like, scientists and stuff. Like if you look at the symptoms for ADD, ADHD, these kids could be fucking like biochemists, rocket scientists, even at a young age. But it's like, because you don't do it this way, you're never going to get anywhere in life, blah, blah, blah. Do you know how upsetting that is? You know how disappointing that is? Like, oh, I don't do it this way, so, I'm going to fail. I don't hold my pencil a certain way, so I must be half retarded or autistic or something. Blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, these kids have, so much potential to do so much great things with their minds, but they're stuck in such a small space, and you have to do this, do that. Like, are you kidding me? Get these kids out of there. Get these kids out in actual situations where they can function properly.
Well, let me tell our listeners a story here. There was once a time in the world, at least within my country, the United States. I'm sure it was there in Canada too, but there was once upon a time that people were celebrated for being different. There was a time where individuality and diversity was a good thing. And now I'm not talking about separation. I'm talking about diversity. Diversity in the fact that I was different than you. I was better at something than you were, but you were better at something than I was. And rather than us being upset that I was good at one thing and you were good at another, we celebrated the fact that you were good at that and I was good at this. And that has been bred out of society because of feelings. We don't want people to feel bad that they can't do something. Fuck that. You know what used to
You remember that commercial from way back in the day? And it's not everybody's good at everything, but everybody's good at something.
Right.
I used to play when I was 7 years old.
But that's where I was going with it. Is that you know what somebody else being better at something than me usually did to me? I'll tell you what it did to me. It made me more focused to get better at it.
Yeah,
that's what it did. If it bothered me that you were better at something than I was, it made me more determined to get better at it, so that way I could compete with you. It was a healthy competition.
It was, because you still get rewarded. It's you're not the best, but you keep doing better, and you keep doing better. So one day you're gonna do really good at something. And you actually had that motivation, and at the end of the day, it's I keep doing better than my best, so I'm getting better. So one day I'm gonna be right beside that guy. Maybe he'll be second place beside me, and right now, I did better, in a leg race or something. I did better than my time last time, not as good as his time, but I'm getting at his time, so I'll beat his ass one day. How much more motivational could that be?
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And like I said, today we're in a society that it's literally bombarding our children in every way, shape, or form. You are not a part of the conscious collective if you don't do things the exact same way we do, if you don't dress the exact same way we do, wear the same style of clothes and name brands that we do, listen to the same music we do, watch the same movies we do. It is every which way being bombarded in to take away individuality and make a collective and it's absolutely wrong. I've watched it. I've bitched about it for years with the rise of things like dubstep and everything else. The reason I bitched about it is because of the fact it's not music. It's not. There is no creativity involved. It is a bunch of noise made on a computer. There is no skill and musical theory involved in it at all, and you're only following it because you were told by old fat white people in the music industry that this is what's cool. And
absolutely.
And it's in everything we do. Do you think that if a bunch of free thinkers and individuals would ever give the time of day to Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian? No. We would look at them as the idiots that they are. They would be asking you, do you want fries with that? But,
they did on a few episodes on The Simple Life.
Yeah, that's the reality of the world. Do you think we'd be looking at these, I don't even know what the fuck to call them, rappers that they are now, mumble rappers with all the tattoos everywhere on their face and the rainbow-colored hair, wearing women's clothes and shit. Do you think we'd be giving them the time of day if we were a society of individuals? Hell no. Hell no, we wouldn't. Because we would realize that they're a bunch of fucking idiots. Talentless idiots.
You've got the same repetitive thing over and over in a song. It doesn't even rhyme, and that's cool and all. I've always wanted to hear music like that, where it's like it doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to always be in rhythm. But now everybody's doing it, and they're doing it. I sell drugs. I sell drugs. I make more money than my teacher. I sell drugs. I sell drugs. Okay, cool. We got you sell drugs now. Your next song is the exact same, except your teacher makes less money than you, and you sell drugs.
I love the fact that half the people that listen to songs that talk about like smacking my bitch and putting her in her place are the ones that are standing in feminist rallies saying that we have to treat women equally. Really?
Oh
Do you pay attention to what you fucking listen to?
Male feminists are the biggest fucking creepers in the goddamn world. Feminists fucking piss me off, but male feminists are the most rapiest, creepy motherfuckers ever.
Let me give you a little secret. I'm going to give you into the male feminist. I will tell you exactly who the male feminist is.
I can tell you exactly who they are.
That's the dude who can't get laid by normal women. So he's going to go be an ally because he's hoping to get in their panties.
You know what? That's exactly it. Like, men will do anything for the pussy, and it's about time the world realized this. Men will do absolutely anything for the pussy. So while he's sitting there and rubbing a girl's feet and telling her, yeah, it's your body and everything, and making her feel good, he's feeling you up, okay? He's fucking feeling you up in order to fuck you. That's what he's doing. Unless he's gay, he's trying to fuck you.
Now, if he's gay or trans, he's trying to replace you. Let's be real. I mean, we could talk about it. The fucking the trans athletes that are fucking dominating women's sports. It is literally replacing women.
Men are better at being women than women.
You want to talk about inequality to women? The trans movement to push their way into women's things is complete inequality.
They do it better. Trans women, gay men, like drag queens and stuff. They can all do their makeup. They can all play the feminine role. They could do the feminine walk. They could do the feminine talk. Most women I know can't even put fucking false eyelashes on, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they're really, they're up in women here. They're better at being women than women. And these are, men, gay men, drag queens, or transgender women that used to be men.
See, I know again, I'm going to get blasted, and probably you are too, because you're agreeing with me here. But, let's be fair. I'm not talking about that a transgender person doesn't have a right to be recognized as a gender they want to identify with. In other words, if a man wants to be a woman and identified as a woman, fine, you're a woman, or vice versa. I'm not saying that. But there has to be some form of standard to things, because grown men, biologically built men who identify as women should not be competing in sports against biological women, because, I'm sorry, it's not a popular fact, but it is a fact, men are built differently than women. Of course, we are the stronger of the two sexes. Yes, there are freaks in nature like Ronda Rousey or fucking, whatever, but they have to work twice as hard to become as powerful as a male is normally. I'm sorry, it's the facts. Men's bodies, biological males' bodies were made to be the workhorse, the workload. We're hunters. We're built to be hunters and builders and stuff of that nature. That's why our bodies are designed the way they're designed. Okay? So competing against a woman whose body was not, a biological woman whose body was not designed like that, is an unfair advantage. Just like, I don't care what you say, I do not agree with the transgender bathroom issue. Now, the reason of being is if you're a fully transferred person, don't care. Use the bathroom you identify with. But if you're not, I'm not saying you yourself are a child diddler or that you're not a legitimate transgender person who wishes to identify as that gender. But the problem is you are a gateway for those that are that will use your movement as an excuse to be able to get in there.
Yeah, you know what? It's not transgender people that are like assaulting children in these bathrooms. You know who it is like full-grown ass men who are fucking copying you, like transgender people, and taking advantage of it. It's just totally like discrediting anyone who just wants to fucking pee in peace, you know, and like in a safe environment.
Mm-hmm.
Like these men are coming in, they're coming in to attack transgender women, they're coming in to attack children, they're coming in to attack straight women because they're getting the door open. And it's not even the transgender community's fault. It's like real sickos out there in the world that are doing this.
Now, again, can we look at some of this shit as an attack on men? Yes, absolutely. And I'll give you a perfect example. I will give you a perfect. You're right. We're going to spend the first hour in just this one subject. I'll give you a perfect example. The Boy Scouts of America. Do you see any boys pushing to become a Girl Scout, or any transgender children being Girl Scouts? No, they're all going towards the Boy Scouts of America. Girl Scouts is allowed to be their own thing, but boys are not allowed to have their own thing. It has to be taken over by the left-wing agenda to the point of demasculating men and taking away anything that was good for men, because under the guise of battling toxic masculinity or whatever the case may be. Well, you know what? If you're taking away the Boy Scouts of America from boys so they don't learn to be responsible and respectful young men, you have nothing to say on the fact that masculinity becomes toxic because they're not learning the right way. You've taken the father out of the household, and now you're taking any type of positive role model away from the child. What the fuck do you expect to become except toxic masculinity?
And he gets bullied because he's a boy and he thinks he's superior to girls. You know what? Like, let boys have something so they could be like, learn how to be gentlemen, you know, how to do certain things so females don't have to. Like, no female wants to go to war. Well, let's make these boys, you know, learn how, like, we protect women. We take care of our women. Like, they were not being offered that. They're being told that they can't have it because it's bad. Are you fucking kidding me? Stop fucking with these kids' minds. Everything's bad. They're not allowed to do anything. Well, what do you expect? You're going to have a fucking whole generation of degenerates now.
Mm-hmm. We've lost. I'll be dead honest with you. We've lost a generation. Yeah, there's going to be decent parents that's going to be like, I don't care about the status quo. I'm going to raise my children right. I'm one of those people. But the problem is that it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough people that haven't been indoctrinated to make it a lick of difference. We lost the whole generation to this Dr. Spock bullshit, for lack of better term. This Dr. Spock bullshit. Children are people too. I'm not denying their humanity. I'm just denying the fact, and it kind of segues into the next subject anyway. I'm denying the fact that a child has the mentality and mental capability to make adult decisions in their own life or throughout the life of the world. And that also that means it's our responsibility as parents, as teachers, as role models to make sure these kids are started off on the right path. Telling a boy that he's a bad person because he's a boy is not the right fucking path. In fact, you're making the monsters you're claiming to fight against. Exactly.
I totally agree with that.
When you tell little girls that women are superior to men, although how true that may be, you're not making a team player. You're making somebody with an ego problem that's turning around saying bitches rule and boys drool. And guess what? No boy's going to put up with that unless you're talking about the beta cucks you're creating.
Yeah, but we had that when I was a kid too. We had the Spice Girls and the whole girl power. But the thing is, it wasn't girl power needed to beat up boys in order to like achieve any empowerment. It was just like, we're girls and we're powerful, and, you know, spice up your life. We're gonna have fun while we do it, kind of like the whole girls just want to have fun type of thing. And that's what it was. Like, this is us, this is girls, this is how we do it.
Oh, I mean,
we have to.
You're talking back in the 80s, Cyndi Lauper, girls just want to have fun. I mean, I have no problem with things being targeted for girls. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the positive message of a woman could do anything a man could do. I've got no problem with the standard that we are all equal no matter what sex we are or what race we are. These are good things. But when you're trying to make one superior to the other, that's when you're creating problems. Because men have feminist movement nowadays is that women are the dominant species on this planet, and men are basically no better than dogs humping legs.
And you see, I would totally respect that if these women acted like warriors and like Amazons, and they were just like, we're proud, we could beat you up, don't fuck with us type of thing. But it's like, oh, the victim card, and oh, I didn't get this, and blah, blah, and he gets more than I do, and fucking wimpy shit like that. You don't deserve to be treated any better. Fucking hate me for saying it, bitches. You don't deserve to be treated any better when you're acting like that. When you're acting like a 2-year-old infant, having a fucking mental breakdown, a fucking temper tantrum, you don't deserve more respect. You don't deserve any more of that. You deserve a fucking timeout and think about your bad actions. That's what you fucking deserve.
No, you're absolutely right. And I love that phrase. You don't deserve it. That's exactly it. This victimhood mentality, this reparation mentality, this give it to me now, this instant gratification mentality that this generation of people, these last 2 generations of people seem to have. I'm a woman, so I deserve equality because I'm a woman. I should be a CEO of a company because I'm a woman. Not because you put in the hard work that the guy did, but because you have a vagina, you just deserve it. I'm black. My great ancestors were slaves once, so you white people should just give me your house. No, you didn't earn it.
Why the fuck are my ancestors were Vikings? Fight me for it.
Well, that's exactly it. Like this victimhood mentality that again has been indoctrinated into people because of people constantly telling them that this is the way it is. It's not. It's not. And all you're doing with making these victims, quote unquote, and I'm doing air quotes on it, the victims that you're creating is creating that much more of a divide instead of closer to the thing that you're claiming you want to have happen, which is true equality and peace amongst people.
Well, if everyone wanted that whole victim card and stuff, guess what? Your whole families once upon a time moved to America or moved to Canada. Why? To run away from religious prosecution, to have their own thoughts and freedoms above the law, and not any of this fucking other bullshit you guys are playing. They are told you want something, you work for it. You're not going to be punished for things that happened in the past. That's why your fucking families moved there. That's why you're there. You have no more rights than anybody else to say, once upon a time back in history, this thing bad happened to me. So, guess what? Your parents agreed to fucking come here and change that. And they came here with hope in their heart and forgiveness to fucking to move on with their lives. And you're going to play the victim again.
Well, see,
are you fucking kidding me?
See, that's exactly it. I don't care if you were born in a ghetto. I don't care if your parents were abusive or they separated, when you were young or you had a single mother or a single father. I don't care about that shit. You know why I don't care about it? Not because it isn't a tragic thing and it's stories I don't like to hear. It is. I have nothing but sympathy, but not pity. Not pity, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you come from. It's what road you choose to walk. Just because you were born in a ghetto doesn't mean you have to die there. You could choose to change your situation. Just because you're a woman and you feel that inequality in the workplace is because you have a vagina, don't play the victim card. Change it.
Don't deserve overcompensation because you have a vagina then.
Right.
You can't say one extreme to the other. Exactly.
Put in
if you want people to stop looking at you like you have a vagina, then fucking prove to them that you're not all just vagina.
You want to change the world, you're not going to change the world, okay? But there is a way to change the world. There's a way to change the world, and it's the easiest way in the world to do. The easiest thing in the world to do. Change yourself. You don't like something,
perspective.
Put the work in to change yourself. And when you change yourself and everybody else has that same mentality of like, I'm not going to be a victim anymore. I'm going to I'm going to work hard and change my life, change my situation, change my environment, change my this, that, and the other. Guess what? If everybody starts doing that, there will be no more ghettos. There will be no more inequality. There will be no more racism. There will be no more of any of that shit. But it's individual responsibility and hard work and dedication to making the difference.
Absolutely. It's like things how they are now, it's just obviously not working, and things are going in a fucking landslide downhill. And people need to be told, smarten the fuck up. So
they need to wake the fuck up.
Exactly.
They need to wake
the
fuck up. This, for lack of a better term, this Nintendo generation, which now is, you know, and I'm a video game player, so I know this, you know, but like this generation who instantly has to have the achievement from a video game to make them feel like they achieved something. Instant gratification. It's stupid. Put in the work. Put in the work. Stop rewarding stupidity. Stop rewarding losers and failures. They don't deserve a participation trophy. I don't care about their feelings. I hope their feelings are hurt, because if they don't like their feelings hurt, maybe they'll work harder to make sure they don't get hurt again.
You know, people are so worried about their feelings being hurt and being offended and stuff. Well, raise your fucking morals and your fucking values. Like, treat people how you want to be treated. Look at them in the fucking eye when you speak to them, and stop this crap of, oh, I get social anxiety. Well, you know what? Okay, go study a course. Go look up any information on body language and what you're sending out. If you don't want to look someone in the eye, you look like a victim. You look like a weaker person. Like, is that what you want to portray? Because that's what you're sending off, and then you're complaining about it. You yourself are doing it to yourself.
Mm-hmm. No,
it's so easy to change that. Like,
she is not wrong. She is not wrong. The worst thing you could do to a bully, and life is a bully, and the worst thing you could do to a bully is cower. Stand up to him. Look him dead in the eye.
You know, they tell women, like, if because they, like, I used to live in Toronto, and they would, like, teach women, if you don't want to be attacked by anyone, but be raped, if you don't want to be mugged, if you don't want this to happen to you, do not walk with your head down. Keep your head up. But keep yourself aware of your situation. You know, walk with the confidence. If you're going to walk with your head down, it looks like you got low self-esteem. You look like a target. You are making yourself look like a target. These are the people that get targeted. It's not how you dress. It's not any of that. It's honestly how you're walking. You are, like, your energy is being fed on by other people, that you are intimidated and you're easy to attack.
Again, she's not wrong. In every way, shape, or form, she is not wrong. And, you know, we're going to go a little deeper into that, because it's going to lead me into a conversation I wanted to have. I was actually going to save it for, like, it had to be said or an after hours thing, but since we're on this subject, we'll just discuss it. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll get more into detail with it right here on Realm of the Mist podcast.
Why didn't the Three Little Pigs go in for some kind of flat share scheme?
Does Jesus get to choose which wine he turns it into?
Why don't Sims have the upper body strength to climb out of a swimming pool?
And does everybody really want to be a cat?
I'm Will Baker.
And I'm Alex Prescott.
And if you're the type of person that overthinks these deep philosophical questions, then Think to the Brink is the podcast for you.
From Disney characters to song lyrics, debates to social etiquette, tune in every week for your dose of paralysis by analysis.
All topic suggestions are welcome. If you can think it, we can overthink it. Think to the Brink. Available on all podcast platforms.
He said that she said that's offensive. Well, someone's gotta say it. It had to be said with Miss. It's a live show Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the recordings at any time. Guest host weekly. Listener, beware. Mature content, sexual content, trigger warning. Do you dare say?
Hi, this is Dave from the Comic Collection at 83 Bustleton Pike in Feasterville, Pennsylvania. Our phone number is 215-357-3332. We are right next to Northeast Philadelphia. We have action figures, gaming, statues, albums, and CDs, graphic novels, other knickknacks, and, of course, comics. Established in 1985, we are your go-to store. Come by and say hello, and say that the guys from Radiocast FM Radio sent you. The address again is 83 Bustleton Pike, Feasterville, Pennsylvania, or call 215-357-3332.
Hey everyone, this is John Tully, inviting you to check out War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Each week, me and my co-host Christopher Stolle discuss the news and theories surrounding one of the largest movie franchises in the world. So join us every Wednesday at 8 Eastern as we travel to the galaxy far, far away, right here on Anchor FM and wherever fine podcasts are heard.
Hi, my name's Chris, and I'm here to tell you Realm of the Mist podcast. Realm of the Mist podcast, we talk about all the great entertainings from movies, books, comic books, and many forms of entertainment, as well as politics, current events, and just general humor. If you're looking for a podcast right up your alley, look no further than Realm of the Mist podcast here on Anchor.fm, where fine podcasts can be heard.
Three-eyed turtle? Is that alright?
What the fuck is a three-eyed turtle?
Are you tired of the same old podcasts with no humor? Well, join us for After Hours, where everything is funny, at least to us, on Anchor.fm and where quality podcasts are heard.
How the fuck did we get on this?
I don't know.
Fucking FCC started this shit. It's their fucking fault.
Back on. Hey, what's up, guys? We are back. Venus and myself. Unfortunately, we lost Brian to a power outage out there in Kansas, so hopefully he'll be back in the second hour, but if not, well, he missed this one. Venus
this was a good one.
Venus and I started off with talking about jelly bean marijuana, and it has led us to the brainwashing of society today, which is now leading us to the true culprit of mass brainwashing. I'm talking about cell phones, that fucking piece of shit that you carry in your pocket that most of you are probably watching us on right now.
I love it, technology. I suck at it. I can even add my friend to Skype who's going to guest host with us tomorrow. I didn't know how the fuck to do that. but I love technology. Like, I'm just technology stupid. That's all it is.
Well, the fact of the matter is that smartphones are very easy to use, and they're very entertaining, and they've come a long way from the flip phone or from the brick phone that used to be when cell phones first kind of came around, and that's fine, but they have replaced human interaction in so many ways. Like I said, my wife and I went to Walmart this past weekend. And, we were just doing normal shopping, and I'm a person that I do have my phone on me at all times, but it's in my pocket. I pay attention to my surroundings. I use both hands on the wheel when I drive, and I use both hands on the shopping cart when I'm in fucking, the store or whatever the case may be. And I'm paying attention to my surroundings, paying attention to what I'm there to buy or whatever the case may be. We're heading to the line, and it was a busy day. There was a bunch of people in line waiting to be checked out by the cashiers. Every single one of you, every single one in line, head down, phone in hand, oblivious to the world, checking their social medias or whatever the case may be that they're doing on their phone, playing the little Candy Crush game, just oblivious to the world, can't take their eyes off of that stupid piece of shit.
Who does that at Walmart? If you want real live entertainment, Walmart is the best fucking place for that. and there's nobody who's gonna come up to you and be like asking you questions like a sales associate, like, do you need help with it? You got to go find these people. But I mean, like the entertainment and like the people watch it, like not like creepy, like staring at them with binoculars, but I mean like just how people react and like, you know, interact in like stores and stuff. Like, why is no one paying attention to this? Like, you could make a whole fucking reality TV show of people in Walmart, and honestly, it would be the best thing ever. But it's like there's entertainment there. You don't need a phone when you can look up and be like, oh my God, look what that person's wearing.
Well, not just what they're wearing or what they're acting. Like, I remember one time shopping with my kids, and I was talking to my younger son, and I was joking around with him, trying to make him laugh. But I was talking about how they were getting a shower tonight, you know, that night. And Brandon was trying to tell me he didn't want a shower. I said, you're going to get in a shower and you're going to scrub your butt until you fart bubbles. 2 aisles down the way, I hear a woman crack up laughing because she heard my statement to Brandon and she thought it was hilarious. Like, you know, we don't pay attention to our surroundings. The cell phone is one of the greatest inventions. It is literally information in the palm of your hand. You can Google anything under the sun. If you meet somebody that can't speak English, you could use Google Translate, for God's sake, or what is it, Siri for Apple, you know, to translate what you're saying to them. You could literally have communications with people, instant communications with people who don't speak your language. There is a miraculous thing about cell phones, but we have dumbed ourselves down to this technology so bad that we can't live without this goddamn thing in our hand, staring down at it. We have allowed ourselves, again, to be mind controlled by a piece of plastic that we pay thousands of dollars for that cost them maybe $20 to make.
Yeah. And $120 to change the screen on an iPhone 6.
That you paid $700 to $1,000 for to begin with.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely ridiculous.
And we allow it to happen. All of a sudden, cell phones went from functionality to a fashion statement, an accessory. Oh, he's walking around with an Alcatel. Oh, he must be ghetto. Yeah, he's Metro PCS. I'm T-Mobile, and I've got the iPhone 10. You know, fuck you, dude. It's a phone. As long as it makes calls, I'm fine. You know what?
All smartphones do the same thing. It doesn't really matter what model you have. Like, one's bigger, one's smaller.
In today's
Sorry,
society?
I'm just laughing. I'm just laughing because I'm like, it's like how ridiculous they're overspending so much money on something, you know, like it's kind of like mandatory to have. But I mean, so much money on like upgrades or like the newer version. Well, sorry to tell people, but when newer versions of stuff come out, they're bound to have bugs and tweaks in them that haven't yet been worked out. There's been like so many different things, like laptops and everything that have been recalled because they're just bugged right up. Like, and they can't fix them online. Like, here, have a refund. We'll send you a new version or something, or send it back to the company so we can fix it for you. Like, there's lots wrong with newer things that people don't realize, and they're spending like insane amounts of money on this.
Again, she's not wrong. Let me let you in on a little secret. Back in the day, I used to build Pentium 1 computers. Yes, that's how old I am. I used to be able to build them from scratch. And when I worked for a place that actually built custom computers for people, they told me straight out the stuff that you buy at Walmart, Target, back then it was like Circus City and shit like that, Best Buy, you know. Those computers, as soon as they release, whether it's Apple, whether it's Microsoft, or IBM, whatever the case may, whatever the case may be, because there's so many different brands out there, as soon as it goes on the store shelf, it's already 6 months obsolete. In other words, as soon as they release this computer, this phone, this tablet, this TV to the general public, by the time it finally reaches store shelves, they're already working on the next one.
Mm-hmm.
It's already obsolete in their office.
Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong. Like, I'm a bargain shopper. There's absolutely nothing wrong with buying, like, last year's model and getting 50% off. Like, are you fucking kidding me? That's a win-win. It does just the same everything as the new version, but it's half the price. It's like buying a brand new car. When you buy a brand new car, the second you drive it off the lot, it's worth less than $10,000 less. Like, why? Go buy a fucking, like, used vehicle that used to be a fucking rental vehicle. They go up to about 30,000 kilometers. It's not even broken in yet, and you save $15,000 on it.
She thus far, except for the stance of putting CBD in jelly beans, thus far, Venus and I are exactly on the same page on everything we're discussing thus far. It almost feels like we're ganging up on people that look in the opposite direction, but it's simply because it almost seems like common sense.
Well, when you have two people that agree on the same things, and like across how many kilometers are we away from each other, and they can actually agree on the same thing, maybe. There's some truth in that, these shows aren't scripted. Today Chris was like, we might talk about this, we might talk about that, and we're just gonna win it for the rest of the show.
I'll do it for you right now. I'll tell you right now. We were supposed to talk about the Orville. That's going to get held off till next week. We were supposed to talk about Metallica announces an S&M 2 concert playing with the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra for the 20th anniversary of the original S&M when Metallica played with a full orchestra. I'm excited for that. I'm thrilled for it. But not as important as the conversation we're having. The other thing we were going to talk about, which I intended for us to still talk about, is wanting to lower the age here in the United States of voting to 16 years old and whether or not that's a good idea. We'll get to that. But this conversation has just rolled on, so this is the show you got.
Yeah.
But when it comes to
far from planned.
Thank you. That's fine. That's the absolute truth. Is that when it comes to scripting, I have an idea of what we want to discuss, and I'll make sure that I've got some sort of references to know what we're supposed to talk about. But we don't script the show. When I read off what I want to read off to my panel, they respond how they want to respond. There's no script.
Oh, God, no. I don't think I'd be able to read the script. Which part are we at? Oh, my God, around the third page, second line, fourth paragraph. Where are we?
The best I can describe is there are bullet points. Bullet points that I want to make sure are discussed in the show, or topics that I want to make sure are discussed in the show. But the reactions to the topic are completely random. And sometimes you get something like this that I thought maybe would be a 10, 15-minute conversation, which is now reaching 1 hour and 12 minutes. If
it works, run with it.
Exactly, and it led us down so many different avenues. So understand that's pretty much realm of the mist. I think the only one who follows more of a strict guideline with his show would be John with War of the Stars, because he picks a single topic. And he knows the conversations he wants to have on that single topic. Yeah, and I'm not dogging the way he does his show. It's that's the way he does it. So that's the way he does it. Mm-hmm. So if you want a little bit more structured, I guess you could call it, definitely check out War of the Stars. But if you want true, honest reaction, unscripted reactions, we've got plenty of shows for that. Including this one. Oh, yeah. It had to be said in After Hours. Especially After Hours.
Well, I mean, you've got two completely different people at the same time. Like, Chris is like a 42-year-old male somewhere in the States, and I'm like a 28-year-old female in Canada. So, I mean, I thought we would bound to have a lot more, different opinions on stuff, but no, I guess, common sense is not such a rarity, no matter where you live. But, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, it seems like common sense is a rarity in today's world. Again, when somebody like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez can wind up in the U.S. Senate.
God, God bless her fucking hilarious soul.
I mean, can you pick? I'm not even gonna pick on the liberals, which I can do, but I'm not gonna pick on the liberal or the left or the Democratic Party. But seriously, can you pick a more unqualified person to be a leader?
Oh, her rates are dropping, eh? Like, she's in an unfavorable standing right now.
Can you pick a more unlikable, unqualified?
I love that woman, okay? I fucking love her. She is the best fucking... She's funny as fuck. That's all I gotta say. Like, no matter what she says, I sit here and giggle and oh my god, you know what? You are fucking amazing. Like,
I literally was
like, I hope people don't take her seriously. But I mean, like, what she says, like, I could listen to her talk for hours. Like,
the problem is there are people that take her seriously. That's what scares me. That's what scares me. There's people that take Bernie Sanders seriously.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You know what I mean? There are people who wholeheartedly believe without a shadow of a doubt that he's absolutely sincere about democratic socialism and stopping the top 1% of the top 1%. He is part of the top 1%. But you idiots are going to follow him. You think he's going to fucking tax himself into poverty? No, he's not. Okay.
These people are just the greatest, though. Like, if you can honestly sit there and like actually have a mind to like even comprehend what they're saying, it is the best fucking entertainment ever. It honestly is. But the second you take them serious, like, they're like, okay, would you take Paris Hilton serious? Actually, Paris Hilton, like, what did she do with water? She actually opened a whole university and she made something with water. She actually proved to be a lot smarter than we all thought she was, which is actually pretty astonishing. But AOC, oh my God. No, she's got her platform. Everyone enjoy it. Applaud her for making our miserable lives that much more humorous, but don't take that shit seriously whatsoever. She's paid to be there, and she's been paid to say stupid shit. That's why she's saying it. Like, you are, oh my God.
You're not wrong.
Who are these people that listen to her and like actually believe her? I would like to know.
It's people who want free shit and doesn't care how it comes. Let's be real. Let's be real. Who is the person that supports socialism? Who is the person that supports people like AOC and Bernie Sanders? It is people who feel they deserve free health care. They deserve free housing. They deserve $15 an hour because they were a failure in life and dropped out of high school or got pregnant at 13 years old and now work at McDonald's. They deserve free this, free that, free college. But they don't care the fact that nothing in the world is free, so the money's got to come from somewhere. Well, tax the people that have worked their ass off to build, a solid living for themselves because they're hoarding the wealth. They're not hoarding the fucking wealth. Most of them are business owners who have employees, who most of their wealth is tied into paying the employees.
You know what? My old boss, she owned an independent restaurant, and at the end of the day, she wasn't making much more than me and the other employees. She wasn't taking home that much more after taxes and everything, and after paying us, and after paying for all her supplies that she needed, all the food that she needed to buy like weekly. She was not making much more than me and the other servers that worked for her. Well, that's like how fucking crazy it is.
Well, let's look at Realm of the Mist Entertainment right now. Yes, I started a podcast company called Realm of the Mist Entertainment. It means that I am technically the employer of somebody like Venus and Brian Miller and John Mark Tully, who are my on-air talent and bloggers and stuff of that nature. I say supposedly because none of us get paid, because we're not... Realm of the Mist is not generating a revenue yet and not an income yet. But when it does, and I have been quoted by this, and I can be backed up by every member of Realm of the Mist Entertainment, when Realm of the Mist generates revenue, I will make sure that every single one of them gets paid before I do.
Like, it was your brainchild?
And not only are they going to get paid, but paid equal share.
Like, it was your brainchild and stuff, but, like, let's be honest. You would not have a show without myself and Brian and Mark.
You're absolutely right.
Like,
I was going to close the company when on the last shutdown because of the fact that I knew I couldn't run it on my own. You're absolutely right.
The amount of work that we put into it also, like sharing the content from other people and, you know, making posts regularly and stuff and, you know, like reaching out on social media. Like we all do like a fair share of work, but I'm like trying to figure out like, like you how do I say this?
No, you're
like, you're
absolutely
you've got to appreciate
right.
the people that work for you. Like we're all like not volunteering. I mean, we're all having fun with it, but I mean, we're all putting in time and effort and everything to make Chris's dream come true.
Exactly it. And in turn, I want to make all your guys' dreams come true. You know, we would all love to be able to turn this into a full-time job where we make a living sitting here and bullshitting about things. I would love to make that a reality. Do I think it's going to happen? Who knows? But I would love to make that a reality. But here's the thing. This is the point that I was trying to make as far as being a business owner. As Venus stated, this is my brainchild. I've incurred the cost of and the risk of copywriting the name and protecting the interest of everybody involved in getting our product out to other places and in some cases, not now, but in some cases where I have paid out of pocket to make sure we played on a Podbean or on an internet radio station. I've paid out of pocket for that. So I've incurred all the risk. As the business owner, that's why I deserve a reward because I incurred the risk of creating the business. Now, as a business owner, even though I've incurred the risk, I'd rather take the reward and split it evenly with the people that made my business a success.
Hey, well, we've got like how many subscribers on YouTube now?
93.
No. Well, we're up 3 since I started.
I'll
take credit for those 3.
Those are all yours. One of them's probably you.
Exactly.
There you go. So.
Okay, I'll take credit. Yeah, so but it's a lot of work, but I mean, it's so much fun in the meantime. Like, it doesn't feel like a job, and like I guess it's not really a job because nobody's getting paid. But
that's something I never want Realm of the Mist to feel like. I don't want it to feel like a job. I want it to feel like. Thank you. I want it to feel like that it's a bunch of friends getting together and bullshitting for a couple hours. That's the feeling within the company I want to have because I think it generates the best conversation on air to people. If you just feel like my employees, you're just feeling like you're going to a day-to-day job. Realm of the Mist becomes McDonald's. I don't want.
I have ADHD. If it's boring, I'm not doing it. Like, and here I am, like 2-3 times a week. So.
Right, so when it comes to that, I don't want to be McDonald's. I don't want to be Walmart. I don't want to be a job. I want to be, hey, we doing a show tonight? What's the topic? Cool, let's talk. But you know what? After doing all that, like you deserve a reward if you're bound to get one. Like these people on socialism, like I don't do anything. Like you've honestly put in the time, you put in the work, you've put in this. You've like done so much, and like yes, you deserve the payoff. But like people that think that they can just not do anything, like would I deserve anything if I just like said, oh, I'm just part of it and I don't do anything, if I'm not on these shows all the time, if I'm not sharing everyone's content, if I'm not promoting this stuff, no, I wouldn't deserve shit because I don't work for it. Well, exactly it. But, as the boss, I guess I could use this as an example. As a boss, when it comes to small businesses that incurred all the risk, and then is using the reward to pay their employees and pay the bills and everything else where they're really not coming home with as much as you think they are. Here's a perfect example of it. Like Venus said, they are in charge of their own shows. Okay, so the content that they talk about and what guests they want to have on their show and who's the panelists on their show is literally the host's responsibility. I have no say in it. Venus wants to have Ocasio-Cortez on the show. If she's willing to do it, I can't say shit on it. It's her show. That is the freedom of Realm of the Mist. But like she said, she'll go out and she'll promote everybody's show. She'll share out everybody's content, everybody's blog, which is great. But at the end of the day, once she's done that share button, that click button, she's home writing her own script or her own points.
Writing my own script.
writing what she wants her show to be, thinking about what she wants her show to be. While she's doing that, I'm up until 3 o'clock in the morning creating commercials. I'm up until 3 o'clock in the morning editing intros and making connections with other podcasters or with other companies to be able to spread us out even farther, trying to gain us more sponsors. This is the work I do that the rest of the guys, Venus included, the rest of the guys do not do. This is what bosses. This is.
I was actually gonna share this content with one of my buddies' page. He's got quite a Canadian based page, which actually hits like quite a few Canadians. And I was just talking with him earlier about a few things, like before I even introduced that new show to you.
Right.
And like he's working in the music industry, he's working in wrestling, he's working in public communications, everything. Don't say we don't do it. You just don't know. We're just keeping it secret till we actually have something.
No, that's fine, and I'm happy that you guys are. But I was using it as an example for like bosses. Is that the bosses do put in the 9 times out of 10. I'm talking small business. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about like Walmart, but I'm talking about like the corner store, pharmacy.
Walmart started small too.
Walmart started small too, yeah. But the bosses out there. The job is his whole entire life. When I'm not sleeping and I'm not at my 9 to 5, I'm working on this podcast, whether I'm on air or not. I'm building the website. I'm creating the content. I'm trying to find sponsors. I'm trying to make sure we get out there to more people, however avenue I can get us out there. Because not because I'm interested in the money. I am, of course. We all want money. Like I said, I'd love to make this a career. But I'm more interested in that I think our shows are quality enough and that we have something to say that it deserves to have the biggest audience it could have.
Yeah, that's why there's different shows that have to reach different topics, different audiences at times too. Like Brian's shows for Star Wars or what. I don't even listen to his show. I just share it. I don't even listen to these shows after we record them either. That's how bad I am. I don't want to hear my own voice. I don't want to hear my own voice on the radio. Like, who thinks they have a pretty voice? Like, absolutely no one likes their voice. It's almost like making a video and then when you're watching it and you're like, oh my God, I should have done it like this and I should have done it like that and I should have done that. And you're like sitting there criticizing yourself. And meanwhile, when you're in a good mood because you're like feeling satisfied, like, oh, I just accomplished doing a show, share it, and you're a lot more motivated than like, oh my God, my voice sounds shitty. Do not laugh anymore on the radio. Do not fucking laugh anymore on podcasts.
Well, you're not wrong, but at the same time, there's benefits to listening to your own show. Well, I just did 2 of them right there that I look for when I hear my voice on the podcast, and I'm consciously trying to not do anymore. Number 1 is saying all the time. It's a terrible comma that I use in the podcasts that we do. The other thing that really bugs me, and I could literally make a drinking game out of it, how many times it comes out of my mouth. Go back and listen to the podcast for the past 3 years, and you hear the phrase "stuff of that nature." That
could be your catchphrase.
It kind of is my catchphrase, but it's so annoying. I hate the fact that I say it, and especially because I say it so many times each show.
You know what, though? Like, all your loyal listeners are just waiting for it, though. Stuff of that nature. Now, I'm going to be waiting for it every time that we have a podcast. Stuff of that nature. Like,
Which, by the
every
way,
show, I better hear it now.
Which, by the way, if you do actually play a drinking game with my stuff of that nature statement, me pointing it out does not count. You do not drink on those. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I'm making the rules to your game, okay? It doesn't count.
Like, if we had, like, a drinking game for every time I laughed, like, holy motherfucker, you're not going to make it through half the show. But yet I hate my laugh, but it's like, people tell me all the time, you've got this infectious laugh. Yeah, I sound like a fucking hyena choking on a fucking hot dog or something.
I wouldn't say that. No, your laugh sounds like somebody who actually has a good soul. You know, it's kind of
like
Venus.
boisterous. You could find me in Walmart because you could just hear me laughing at something. Honestly, I've got the loudest, most fucking toxic laugh ever.
Well, see, I was gonna say you might take this as a little bit of an insult, but it's not meant to be an insult. Your laugh, because you have a boisterous laugh, is kind of like a Santa Claus laugh. You know, the bowl full of jelly thing. Not because you're fat or an old man, but that your soul is so joyful that you just let it out. And I think that's what people mean by it's kind of infectious, is that when they hear that you're really enjoying something, they want to enjoy it too.
Yeah, so, like, why would I go listen to that? Like, I know how much I hate it, so I'm going to go sit there and criticize them, like, oh my God, biting my nails, like, no, I can't do that. Like, no, like, I know. Like, when people laugh, it is infectious. And then, when you have someone like me laughing, like, it being heard throughout all of Walmart when you're shopping, like, people stop and...
This will be the final. This will be the final show Venus will be on, because we're not going to stop trying to make each other laugh. That's kind of what we do here.
I'm not even worried about it, just as long as I don't have to hear it after. Oh my God! Like, just in the past 15 minutes, I'd be bombed if there was a drinking game.
Yeah. Jen says it's because we're a bunch of nuts. That's why we try to make each other laugh. But we lost Brian. Brian has a power outage. It shut down the whole entire block right in the middle of the show. It's just me and Venus. So,
hi, Jen.
She says, hi, Jen. Hi, Venus. So, I mean, you know.
My bud is an introvert.
Are you going to do tomorrow night's show with Venus?
I might do a little bit, but then I have to go watch movies.
Okay. She said she's promising at least a little bit of time, so she'll be a guest.
Perfect. I've got another female guest, too, so it'll be a whole total bitch fest.
Oh, great. Maybe I'll just shut off my mic and hide in the background. I'll cower in a corner. She says she's got another female, so it'll be a total bitch fest. I said, great, I'll just shut off my mic and go hide in the corner. I'll
bitching about ex-boyfriends? Like, yeah.
Bitching about ex-boyfriends and all? Yeah, I'll hide in the corner in the fetal position with my thumb in my mouth, you know. God help me, what have I done?
Exactly. You'll have to wait till the show's after to even poke Jen, because she'll be like, rawr! Like, back the fuck off. Do you not know we're bitching about this dude? But afterwards, she'll be all happy, I promise.
I'm sure she will. She's got a good sense of humor. Just she's tired of my jokes. As she shakes her head. Well, there's one more topic of conversation I want to get into, and it kind of fits into everything we're talking about people not taking responsibility, or people not being responsible enough, i.e. somebody like being underqualified, like Cortez. Well, to make sure that we keep people unqualified, we're talking about, here in the United States, I don't know so much about Canada, but here in the United States, the Democratic Party, Nancy Pelosi, wants to lower the age of voting to 16 years old, which here in the United States is also the same age you can get your driver's license.
Same here, except for in Alberta. You get it at 14.
You can get it at 14 in Alberta?
Yeah.
Remind me never to drive in Alberta.
We got the RCMP here too, and you know what? Our speed limits are like, we go up to like 110, like for the speed limits. Ontario is like 100, like the maximum you'll ever reach, and here's 110. So we've got like 14-year-old little girls driving around their daddy's big fucking lifted up trucks, going like 110 down fucking highways. It's fucking great.
Right, but you're talking about like kilometers per hour, though. You're not talking about like miles per hour for the our American listeners who are like, what the hell's a kilometer? Wait, I can go 110 miles per hour up there? And it's a different number.
Kilometers in miles. Hold on 1 second.
Kilometers, yes.
It's 110 kilometers is 68.351 miles.
Yeah, so they're going 68 to 70 miles per hour for American equivalency, which is basically what we do on most highways, it's between 65 and 75 miles per hour. Highways, not streets.
Little 14-year-old girls are doing this.
That's ridiculous. But
Grace is all quiet. It's scary.
It is very scary. Look, a 14-year-old. I think about my 10-year-old daughter who's 4 years away from that, and I'm sitting there like, I'm just envisioning her behind the wheel of a car, and all of a sudden I have the feeling that I don't want to walk on the sidewalks.
Like accident rates are like there. So I've been here since September in Alberta, and I haven't seen a single accident except for the one that I got in.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong on this, but the fact of the matter is that the idea down here in the United States about lowering the age from 18 to 16 years old, it made me wonder if the panel, which now is Venus, thinks this is a good idea. That maybe we should give the voice to somebody who is not technically by law an adult, who hasn't really defined themselves in any way, shape, or form to normal societies. 18 years old in the United States, you're old enough to vote, you're old enough to be drafted, you're old enough to serve in the military, you're old enough to move out of your parents' house and have your own, life, job, car, whatever the case may be. 16 years old, you're allowed to have a driver's license, but you still have to go to school. Name me a 16-year-old that really pays attention to politics and is well enough informed to make a decision of who runs the country.
So, so I am 28 years old, and honestly, I had no idea what the fuck politics even were until I was 25 years old. To say that an 18-year-old is even mature enough or even educated enough to be able to vote, considerately or logically or whatever, that's pushing it even a little bit. At 18 years old, yeah, you get up and vote. You know what? At 18 years old, you don't even know what exactly it is you're voting for, but get the fuck up and go do it. You want to know why? Because when you fuck up once, and when you vote for someone like Trudeau, or if you vote for someone like Hillary, who would have destroyed the whole country, you learn from that mistake. And you know what? You'll never make it again, and it's a great life experience. Now, at 16 years old, you're still in school, and you're still, pretty much a child. Should you be responsible for that decision that you make as an adult for the rest of your life and be like, damn it, I voted for Trudeau? No, you shouldn't. But why can't they have, mock voting, where they vote at their school and stuff? Why can't they do stuff like that? Or, have their opinion matter and, have it that they voted for these people and stuff, but not actually literally count their votes, but count them as a majority vote or something. So, that they start getting the hang of voting, they start getting into what politics is and whatnot, start educating themselves at a younger age. That would be great.
No, that's definitely not a terrible idea. But the thing is if they're going to do the mock voting in schools and stuff of that nature, see, I almost did it. And things like that, you gotta have it where they are paying more attention to the issues and what the candidates or whatever it is are stating. Have them pay attention to the issues that are being promised in the campaigns and how it would affect them as the voter, as the person that the government or the official that they're voting for is going to be representing. How is it going to affect your life and those around you and your school, your society, your country, whatever the case may be?
Well, exactly. Why don't they have it that, it actually goes to Senate or wherever, it actually gets counted as a vote, but it gets counted as more of an educational thing where it's okay, well, 65, the majority of you guys voted for this person. So if you guys were the all of America or all of Canada right now, you would have voted for this person. And I want you to pay attention for the next 2 to 4 years, whatever, to see what happens because of your decision. So if you would have voted for, so, like, let's say they all voted for Trump, now you guys are going to see the consequences of voting for Trump for the next 4 years. So when you guys are like the age of voting, you guys are going to have to deal with whoever you do choose, and that'd be a great learning experience. And have it for in 2 years, like when they are 18, be like, okay, well, we have to change this or do that because they would have voted for Trump, and say Hillary won, and we've got to change our campaign because they're going to be the next voters, and we need to appeal to them.
Well, that's exactly it. The fact of the matter is that government officials, be it the President of the United States all the way down to whatever, the lowest common denominator of government, they work for the people. And the problem is we're living in a society where these senators, these congressmen, these officials are sitting there and looking at it as the other way. Like, they've got to manipulate us to make sure they remain in power. They were never in power. We're the power. That's the way it's supposed to be. Like, the perfect way I could describe this is, let me use an example here. Venus is from Canada. I'm from the United States. Venus, if I jumped the border to Canada, could I vote and have my vote count for the next Canadian election for, like, Prime Minister?
Legally?
Legally.
Or, like...
Legally.
Yeah,
would my vote count?
Yeah, legally, yeah.
Really?
You don't need you don't need IDs in Canada. Yeah, Trudeau set this up. You don't need IDs to vote in Canada. You don't even have to be a citizen to vote in Canada anymore.
That's what they're doing. That's what the Democrats want to do down here. They want to make illegals able to vote. That's wrong. You're not a citizen. You have no stake in this.
I think they sold out a bunch of votes to places like actually Arab nations, and I think India has a big voting hand in it in the upcoming elections. I'm not sure if this is just like being rumored at this point, but I know like they're passing bills, getting bills passed to actually make this law that people don't have to be actual citizens. Pretty much, if you're on Canadian soil at the time that we get to vote, you get to vote.
Do you think that's right? Do you think that's fair? Do you like the idea of an illegal citizen like myself making decisions for how you live your life by basically stealing your vote?
Absolutely fucking not. So if you, like having 16-year-olds vote, that's actually keeping more of the voting in your country, if you think about it. If you're going to have Democrats and fucking liberals deciding that illegals can vote, well, you've got a 16-year-old child that you can now inform and be like, look, this is how it works. We need your vote because we need the votes to stay an American or Canadian vote.
Right, but when we're talking about a 16-year-old lowering it down to 16, do you really think they're going to have an informed vote? Think about what we discussed earlier about how the schools are indoctrinating them to be part of the collective instead of an individual. Do you really think they're going to teach them to look for the differences in the candidates and pick on personal attachment as to whether or not those issues are important to them, and would they affect positively to their life and what they believe and what they want to see for the future of their country and for their families and their friends and stuff like that. I did it again. I'm catching myself here. You can't drink on it because I didn't finish it. But is it fair to put a vote in the hands of people that are not going to be taught the difference between what is propaganda and what is reality, what is indoctrination and what is informed choice?
Okay, Chris, you're a parent, right?
Of course.
Are you really going to rely on the school system to fucking raise your child and teach them about these things, knowing how fucking filtered they are and how biased they are? you're going to really leave that responsibility up to someone else, or are you going to teach your kid yourself?
Well, I'm the wrong choice to ask that question of, because I'm unfortunately a part-time father, thanks to the system deciding that men are not as important as women in separations and divorces. So I only get 48 days a year to try to teach my children or change what my children have been taught by their mother, by society, by the school systems that are incorrect. So if given the opportunity, yeah, absolutely, I'd make sure they're informed and taught the right way of being a free thinker. But unfortunately, there's only so much I could do with 48 days a year.
Well, take advantage of those 48 days. If you do you think that kids look up to their teachers as role models? Like, do you think kids look up to the one parent who keeps their kids away from the other parent as role models? Do you not think that they see the unfairness in this? And then they're looking at you, and they're like you are their father. Like, you are always going to be that masculine male figure in their life. Are you not going to take advantage of that? Do you not think they will listen?
Oh, I absolutely do. I try to live my life like. There's a very different person that sits in front of this microphone and talks to you guys, and that person's the same person that'll hang out with his friends, and his peers and his equals, to the person that is with my children. The father, that is me. That's why I don't do podcasts when I have my children, because to them, I want to be the representation of, for like my daughter, what you should expect from a guy.
You know what's funny is my daughter heard that I was.
And to my son, I want to be the representation of what you should be as a guy. In other words, be the man you want your daughter to marry, and be the man you want your son to be. And that's how I try to present myself to my children, to be that role model for them.
Yeah, see, my daughter knows I do a podcast, and she's like, "Oh, you're like making videos." I'm like, "No, it's like radio, And I'm explaining it to her, and she's like, "So you're like a famous radio star?" I'm like, "Not quite." She's like, "Who cares? My mom gets to be on the radio, and people actually listen to her." And like, oh my God, that moment, I was just like, wow, this is what like empowering females is like. It's like, yeah, your mom has a voice, and you know what? Like, she listens to what I say. Like, she's always listened to what I say, but now she takes it a lot more serious, because she's like, "Mom, people listen to you, and you get paid sometimes." I didn't tell her I didn't get paid, but well, I told her I got paid a little bit, which 20 cents, is a little bit.
Well, if you really want to blow her mind, let her know that you're the top show on the station right now.
Oh, I did. I told her I write blogs sometimes. I do this and everything, and she's like, "That's my mom who gets to talk to all these people, and they actually want to listen to her because she's smart and blah, blah, blah." She's just loving it. Like, she's like just reveling in the fact that and the fact that she's got such a stronger female voice to look up to. I mean, anyone could say what they want to say, but I mean, there's people in the USA that are listening. I mean, she's like, "That's my mom," and it just totally empowered her, because she's like, yeah, people do listen to what you say when you say it, and if you're smart enough to be listened to and whatnot. And yeah, she's loving it, and she's like, "Can I listen to your shows?" I'm like, no. No. You cannot listen to my shows, which is fine. I know she really wants to listen to some of them, so it's like, okay, well, one day we could sit there and we could play a show, and if you have any questions, that's fine.
Maybe we should create a child's podcast. Not necessarily children podcasters, but things about subjects and topics that children could listen to. Something that's actually safe for work, as it were. A little PG rating.
Because you've got kids too, and it's like they would love to see what their mommy and daddies are up to on the radio and stuff, and they could be like, yo, to all their friends, do you know how proud they would feel, be like, "This is my parent on the radio."
No, I do
definitely know. I'm down for that.
I do, because a couple years ago, many years ago now, God, 10 years ago, I had a 12-year-old son who was heavily into pro wrestling. And then one day he found out I was a professional wrestler because I was active at that time. I was a professional wrestler. And that blew his mind enough. And I remember, I will never forget this. In fact, I don't let him live this down. He's 22 years old now, and I still give him shit about it. Is that he, at 12 years old, he sat me down one day. He said, "Dad, I figured something out." I said, "What's that?" He said, "I know how I can get into the or not how I can, how you get into the WWF, the WWE." I said, "Okay, I'm listening." He says, "You got to be second generation because all the stars are second generations and third generations, like The Rock and he's naming off all these people, which their fathers were pro wrestlers before him, or their grandfathers were pro wrestlers before him." And I'm laughing at him because he's sitting there getting kind of depressing himself. "I'll never be a pro wrestler then." And I'm like, "Why not?" And I'm like, "Why not?" And he didn't connect it yet. And I'm sitting there like, "Joe, listen to me." He said, "Yeah." I said, "If you wanted to be a professional wrestler, you've got just as much chance as those second-generation superstars." He says, "How come?" I said, "Your dad's a wrestler." He's like, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." I said, "That means if you became a wrestler, you would be a second generation." And his face just, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, yeah.
I blew his mind.
Like, oh yeah, like kids just get so proud like over the smallest things, and it's like, you know what, now I've got my number one little fan who's never even heard one of my shows, but she just knows that like twice a week there her mom is like talking shit for like the entire world to hear if they want. And like some people actually listen, and she's just like, wow, like that's girl power right there, like that's feminism to her.
No, absolutely. And you know what? It is. It really is. Like, the third wave feminists might blast it a little bit here because, okay, you have a podcast because a man gave it to you. No, I offered it to you. You took it and ran with it the way you wanted. Absolutely girl power. And you
I kind of got on your ass one day when you're like, "Oh, we're going to talk about abortions." And I'm like, "Well, you know what? You need a female opinion."
Yeah. I was happy to have it. I didn't think I'd get a female opinion. I would love to have one. And now I've got one, so it works out. I mean, you're not the only female we've ever had on shows. Again, we had an author who took time off. She's actually slated to come back soon. She's an author of the Song of Souls trilogy, a fantasy book, which is very directed towards females. But she was writing her third book. She was in the middle of writing her third book, which is why she left the podcasting. But she fully intends to return. So you'll have another female voice very soon.
I totally butted in on this. Like I didn't even get the invite until I'm like, a bunch of men talking about abortion. No.
To be fair, we were talking.
That's just one-sided.
To be fair, we weren't talking about abortions in general. We were talking about the late term and afterbirth abortions that have been passing those laws, which I think everybody, regardless of whether you have a penis or a vagina, can, for the most part, agree is just wrong and murder. But it's not like we were talking about like Roe v. Wade in general, in which case
I just didn't let men have all the say on it. I did not. I butted in like I'm doing now.
Well, yeah, so any third wave feminists that want to turn around and say that, oh, she's only there because a man gave it to her, you know what? She runs this company.
Meant to sit down.
Yeah, she runs this company. She tells me the female side of things, and that I'm just going to have to sit there and accept that. So don't think I control her in any way. I don't.
No, I'll never forget that like first invite to be on the show though. Like just, we're going to talk about abortion. What? Men are going to talk about this? No. Absolutely not.
Well, but again, I was happy to have you. I'm happy that you're part of the shows, not only of this podcast, but that I enjoyed talking to you enough that I handed you a podcast. Hey, I've got an old podcast here. You think you could do something with it? You have.
Yeah.
You made it your own. You made it absolutely your own, and I'm over the moon proud of you for it and happy for you for it. And I'm even happier to hear that it's serving in some role model form for your daughter. That makes it for me even more.
That like really that's the type of feminism I believe in, like empowering females, like because like they're used to like so many men. Like this show was like just men when I started it like a month ago.
To be fair, we're just a bunch of geeks. To be fair, we're a bunch of nerds. It's not like men being masculine pounding our chests. We're a bunch of geeks talking about shit.
Yeah. Like, that was it. Like, a woman comes in and she's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I guess I was pretty impressive because here I am. And I was actually invited back. And then I was actually offered a show. So it's like, wow, you know, like, that's girl power, not like, I demanded I get this. No, I had to get this because I'm a woman or anything. It's like, no, you know, like, Chris liked me, well, on the show. So I got invited back. That's how you do things in life. Like, you make a good impression, you do a good job, and then you get like promotions and stuff. Like if I was Chris, I would have just handed anyone a show and be like, here, you can have this because you didn't do anything for it or anything. Like
right, it had nothing to do with the fact that you were a female. I thought you were a very solid guest. So I offered you an opportunity. Here's a show. Let's see what you could do with it. If you failed with it, you failed with it. But that's fine. You'd still be invited on as panelists for the shows that still existed. But you didn't. You took it, you made it your own, you ran with it, and you became one of the top shows on Realm of the Mist Entertainment.
And we've only done 3 shows on it, had to be said.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that you have tits and a vagina. It has to do with the fact that you're putting out... Right, but it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that you took it and ran with it. You were given the opportunity, and you ran with it. You put in the work and the dedication. You created the show subject matter and the topics. You found the panelists for your show that you felt would best fit what you were trying to push, and it worked. That's what happens when people are given opportunity but don't expect it.
No, I was completely honored to just be like, oh, are you going to join us for the show? When I like, no, men can't just have an opinion on this stuff. I was completely honored. And then like, what was it? Like the day after or something, or the week. Yeah, I think it was the same week. And you're like, well, you know, I've got this old idea, and if you want to take it, it's yours. And I'm like, what? Even more honored. I was like, what? Like, this is like from a man's like world, you know, and it's like, wow, you know, like give it a female voice and everything. Like, obviously it's not like a sex. You're obviously not like bigot. Is that what they call it, right?
Sure. Bigoted.
Sexist.
Yeah. Bigoted. Yeah. Misogynistic
I was like, well,
or something.
obviously
Yeah.
not. You know, like a woman walks in and she like proves her worth, and it's like she's given opportunities and stuff. That's how women should go about things. Like I had to tell my daughter, like, you know, I got invited to do this. And what? You were invited? Yeah, I was invited. And then, you know what? They even gave me my own show. What? And yeah, like, that's like showing her, like, yeah, you know, you do good at something, you get rewarded for it.
It also like it also shows that you could do something you love. Like, again, we don't make money right now. We've got a total of 60 cents in sponsorship from Anchor.fm, you know, which I'm not knocking Anchor. Thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity to be on the shows or on air and promoting our shows and allowing me to create a commercial that plays on the beginning of the shows and all. But we're not making income, but we're hoping to one day do so. And even if it don't, there's nothing wrong with this being a stepping stone. Maybe this is your future in actual radio. Who knows? Who knows?
Like,
it had to be said could become a nationally syndicated Sirius channel show, or maybe you'll get picked up by somebody who has a really strong podcast community, like for the sake of argument, like Louder with Crowder, or somebody like that who actually can afford to pay employees and stuff like that. So I mean, you could do this and love it.
Well, I didn't come on the show for the money or anything. It's just
Right.
like, hey, we're doing this thing, you know, like it's kind of like a hobby, whatever. And, you know, you kind of get to do what you want with it and everything. It was like, wow, you know, like, obviously it wasn't a job. It was like, it was pretty much just for the sake of, well, the fun of it. So
right. And
it really doesn't take money to like do anything like spectacular.
Oh, can you
like,
please repeat that for people? That money does not buy happiness. You're happy with this, even if we never make a dime. Could you repeat that to people? Money does not buy happiness.
It doesn't, because you know what? Like, a lot of people have a lot of things to say, and some people are just stupid about what they have to say. But when you've actually got like someone with intelligence and, you know, someone who can actually hold a conversation and stuff like that, like, yeah, they deserve a platform. And so, like, it's a huge honor to even be on this radio, like on this podcast, and just be sitting here and talking shit. Like, people are listening. It might only be 17 people that listen, but regardless, people are listening, which is like a lot more than you're going to get from posting a post on Facebook. Or it's a lot more than you're going to get if you sit there and talk with your friends. You have like different views than you or something, which is totally fine. But, you know, it always ends in an argument that, oh, well, we don't agree on it. We don't agree on marijuana. Look where we still are.
That's it. We're
2 hours in and
we're joking with each other. Because you can't. If anything, I think the podcast definitely proved that you could have differences of opinions and still be civil and cordial with each other. This day and age, a lot of people, they feel like it's either you agree with me or you're wrong, and if you're wrong, then you're evil, you're misogynist, you're racist, you're this, you're that, you're you know how many friendships I've lost because of the fact that I refuse to fall under the status quo of what is going on in today's political climate?
Absolutely.
You know how many friends I've lost? Like, not only lost, but have blasted me to the point of, like, that I was, you know, that I've been called, like, a baby raper and shit. You know, like, I have really been shot down hard, and they've gone to the most extreme ways of trying to, like, hurt me mentally and emotionally simply because of the fact it's like, I don't have a problem with Donald Trump being president.
I lost a sister, honestly, when people were coming in from Mexico into the USA, and people were being detained for a certain amount of time, and children were taken away from their parents and stuff, which I didn't have a problem with. And, like, everyone's like, that is the most cruel. Well, my sister was like, it's the most cruel and inhumane thing ever, and ripping babies from their parents. I was like, look, these people are coming into a country. Okay, they're coming in from third world countries. They don't have health care like they do in the States. I know people in the States have to pay for health care, but they don't even have that option from where they're coming. These people are traveling through like miles or whatever of wilderness. They're going through parasite-infested waters. They've never had vaccines or anything. And they're being quarantined for a certain amount of time because they need to make sure that they're not coming in with diseases. And they need to make sure that they're not sick. They need to get, you know, the care that they're getting. That's why they're there. They need to make sure that they're not a threat to people. Well, they shouldn't be separating them from their parents. I was like, well, you know what? If you're going to have a whole bunch of adults and a whole bunch of children, bad things can happen to these children also.
Well, see, that's where information and being informed comes into play, because the one thing your sister's not understanding is we don't do that to people that came here legally while they're in the process. Yeah, they might get quarantined, but they are quarantined as a family. The ones that are being separated from their children or from their wives are the ones that came here illegally. They are the ones that were busted trying to climb the wall or dig under it or, you know, hop the fence, or as it were. And the best way I could describe it is when you're a criminal and you go to jail, you don't get to take your wife and child with you there. It's the exact same thing.
And what people don't understand also is, like, if you're going to have, like, these children's safety altogether could be put at risk because you're having, like, full-grown men, like, in there, and then you have women with their children that are, like, quarantined together or whatever. So these men not only pose a risk to these women, but they pose a risk to their children too, because you don't know who these people are. They could be like serial rapists. They could be convicted criminals from where they're trying to run away from. You don't know this. So until you actually they're not even put in a prison. They're put in a quarantine. And it's like, okay, you check out, or like, Mom, these are actually your kids. Because you don't know if people are just kidnapping kids. There's been a whole lot of kidnappings in South America. Whole lot of child abductions. They need to make sure that these are their actual kids that they're putting with.
Oh yeah,
people don't realize the safety risks.
There's been many stories from those quarantine areas where they separated child from father or mother, and come to find out that wasn't the father or mother. They were intending to sell that child as child labor or sex trafficking. There are a lot of that going on. That's why they're jumping the border illegally. They're trying to do something illegal.
And I got told that my morals were not in check and my values were in a bad place, and I was a terrible human being for this, and my sister never spoke to me since. And I'm like, you're not understanding that these children's lives, these adults drug these children, drag them all the way from wherever, 250 kilometers by foot, through parasite-infested waters and everything. These parents are not the best parents to begin with. These kids may now be sick because of it, and you think that they deserve to have their children. They put their children's lives at risk. So they're separated for a short period of time to make sure that these parents didn't hurt their children, and they deserve to be back with their parents.
Well, see, that's exactly it. And I'm going to offer 2 points on that. One, when it comes to your sister directly, I'm going to say this because, like, she'll ever listen to the podcast. I'm going to say it directly to your sister. You're outraged at the morality of Venus's political point of view, or point of view when it comes to illegal immigrants coming into this country and how they're treated by ICE and detaining centers while they're being processed, quarantined, or whatever the case may be. But you disowned your own sister over a point of view. A point of view. Really, where's your morality on that? That's still your sister. That's still your flesh and blood. That's still the person you grew up with and claimed you loved. And you're willing to just throw them away because of an argument? Number one, that's a problem. Number two, when it comes to these things of talking about the morality of us detaining them or quarantining them or quarantining the children separate from the parents, stuff like that, while they're going through the processing, and whether they're going to be catch and release or sent back to their country, and during the time they're getting the medical treatments for like you said, dysentery or whatever the case may be.
Sepsis. How many cases of sepsis were there?
Right, sepsis and stuff like that.
If they just let them free, they're not going to get medical attention. There was a girl who actually died from that because she had sepsis, and her fake father didn't tell customs or ICE or whatever that she was sick, and she ended up dying from that. And that wasn't even her father bringing her across the border.
Right. And again, that goes back to my question. The second point that I was going to have is, which is more morally ambiguous or morally wrong? Is it the Customs Department that caught the illegals, separated them, treated them for their problems, and then sent them back to their country? Or is it the mother and father, like you said, who dragged this poor innocent child through all this shit to begin with? If they really cared about their child and wanted to give a better life for their child, wouldn't they have gone through the channels to do it the right way, to make sure they came into this country legally and provided a safe environment and life for that child? Who's the more moral? Who's the more at fault for morality when it comes to this issue? Let's be fair. Let's be real about it. Is it Customs in the United States, or is it the family that decided they weren't going to do things the right way?
Well, she had a point that they should be giving these families cabins or houses or whatever. See, well, you know what's going to happen with that, though? Like, these parents already threw their kids over a fucking wall Do you not think that they're going to throw their children out of there again? They know that their children are like locked up. They know that their children are being treated. They know that they're locked up. They're not going to leave without their children if these are really their children. They're going to stay there. So they have a lot better chances of actually getting into the USA and have given their children a better life instead of if they're going to actually put their children at risk again, because that's a huge risk factor that people don't even think about right there.
Well, here's
these parents could just toss them over another barbed wire or something.
Well, here's another fair point. Here's another fair point and bit of information that your sister overlooked. Trump wanted to do that. Trump wanted to create housing for those that are under quarantine or under possible deportation for illegal activity for the processing and everything else. And you know what it got called by the Democrats and blocked for? Concentration camp. We wanted to make better housing for them while they're being processed and figuring out what to do for them. And it was called a concentration camp and vetoed.
Meanwhile, there's like the whole Obama foundation that set that all up to separate kids and stuff. And you know what? Like, there's honestly not that much of an issue with it. Like, you don't even know if these families belong together. How do you know that this dad isn't going to rape this little girl who's not even his?
Exactly. You know, so that's the problem with today's society is so many people want to fly off the handle without getting fully informed. And then even if they're fully informed and the other person doesn't agree with them, is it really worth that much to end a lifelong friendship or family bond over an argument of ideals? And when you break it down to its essentials, that's all it is just a difference of opinion. It's an idea. It's a conflict of idea. Is that really worth losing family and friends over?
A lot of people think so. Like, I've made friends over differences of opinions. Like, all my friends I've ever became friends with, it's because right away, like, our first conversation was like, you're a bitch. And like totally just telling each other off. And you know what? We just got over it. And it's like, yeah, you know, you're cool. You can put up with my shit. You know, we'll be friends.
Exactly.
Like,
right.
Exactly. And I can always refer to like my transgender friend. She is really far left. And like, here I am like moderately right. And I see her post about stuff, and oh my god, I read the funniest post she ever had. It was a meme, and it was saying, the far right are saying that the left wants to make the whole world run by fucking robots and shit, and you know, do this and whatever, and the far left is there smoking a joint saying, yeah, that sounds radical, man. And I just laughed my ass off. I'm like, nobody's worried. Like, I thought it was funny as hell, but I'm like thinking, like, nobody's worried about like giant robots being made and shit like that. Like, yeah, a few people have a fear of that, but I mean, kids are scared of robots. Everyone's scared of robots. I mean, like, what's that, Star something or whatever, from the Terminator movies.
Oh, yeah, Terminator. Yeah. The Terminator. That's what it was. The robot.
Yeah, no, Skynet.
Skynet. Yeah, the robot, the AI that became self-aware. Yeah, Skynet.
Yeah, you know, it's an irrational fear, but, you know, people of all different, like,
but is it
cultures
really?
And everything have a fear of it. And I'm just dying laughing, and she posts the most, like far left, extreme things ever. And, like, if I don't like it, I just, like, scroll past what she says. Or, like, I'll laugh at it because, like, it's so extravagant. And, like, she won't comment on my things, on my post about, like, you know, like, conservative views and stuff, unless she's, like, laughing at it, too. And you know what? We became great friends over difference of opinions.
And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. And even if you have a differing point of view, say for the sake of argument, you posted a leftist meme that I don't agree with, and I make a comment on it. It's not meant to attack you and your point of view. If anything, it's to say I don't agree, but I'm also offering the opportunity for a dialogue, a debate. But a respectful debate. I'm not going to sit there and call you a bitch or the C word or whatever the case may be simply because I don't agree with your point of view, and I hope I get the same respect. But I'm open for exchange of ideas if I even acknowledge on it.
Yeah, see, like, some people are like, how the hell can you, like, so conservative-minded, get along with someone so far left? Like, you guys definitely, like, you know, your opinions are always conflicting and stuff, and, like, I know you don't like what she has to say sometimes, and she doesn't like what you have to say sometimes, and how are you guys still friends? And I'm like, oh, we like the same music.
Well, it's a very simple. It's a very simple answer. At the end of the day, all of us have to pull our pants down to take a shit. We're all
like
still human beings.
We bonded over Marilyn Manson, okay? Like.
Oh, so you dug that picture I put up of Manson and Rose McGowan from '98.
I saw that, yeah, but yeah, I was supposed to go to like a music festival to a Manson concert with her, and like that's how we became friends. Is like, you know, we obviously weren't seeing eye to eye, but then she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to a Manson concert. I'm like, I want to go. And from there on, we were just friends, and like we looked past each other's political views. Like, sure, we don't always agree, but I'm not going to sit there and like lose a cool friend that I could go to a Marilyn Manson concert with. Like, fuck that. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Like I said, at the end of the day, we all have to put our pants on one leg at a time. We all pull our underwear down to take a shit. We're all human beings. At the end of the day, we're arguing over ideas, but not people. We're still human beings. We're still people. And whether we agree with those ideals or not, we got to live with each other in this world anyway. So why not make it a pleasant experience instead of one of constant strife and division?
Yeah, like why not find the one thing you have in common or something, and you know, stick with that. So when you guys are talking with your far left friends or you're talking with your conservative friends, you know, you don't fucking care. Like, you respect people for what they do. You don't have to agree with it, but then at the end of the day, it's like, yo, August, Manson's back. Or like, you know, Rockfest is coming. And it's like, oh my God. And you both have something to like do together because, you know, you don't both know that you're going to respect each other and have a great time. And your opinion's not going to matter while you're sitting there in fucking clown makeup and goth clothing and, you know, like fucking just screaming at the top of your lungs like, I don't like the drugs, you know, and having a great time. And the world would be such a better place if they just went to concerts together.
That's it. The secret to world peace is Marilyn Manson.
It truly is. Like, even my friends in India love Manson. Like, he's so iconic. Like, it's crazy. Like, who doesn't like Manson?
Well, I like Manson. To be fair, though, I'm more of a Trent Reznor fan. I'm a Nine Inch Nails guy. Like, if it was a choice between Manson or Nails, I would see Nails in half a heartbeat.
Like, you wouldn't turn down a Manson concert, though. Like, come on.
I wouldn't turn it down unless, like, Metallica or Nine Inch Nails were performing the same night.
They always play together. Like,
well, usually, yeah. But I'm saying, like, if it was in a scenario where it's like Nine Inch Nails is playing at one place and on the same night Manson is playing on the other, I'm going to the Nails show. But if they're playing together, of course I'm going to go see them. Yeah.
They don't not play together. Like, they're always at Rockfest together or, like, at special events, like, in certain places together. Like, they don't, like, bash. They fucking, like, flash together, you know? Like, here
you go.
That's the great thing about music.
Here you go. I'm gonna settle it for everybody. There's some people that like Nine Inch Nails better than Marilyn Manson. There's some people that like Marilyn Manson better than Nine Inch Nails, but we all agree Prick sucks.
Who?
Back in 1995, I went to see Nine Inch Nails and David Bowie. And it was back when Bowie released that album that had the song I'm Afraid of Americans, which the whole entire album was produced by Trent Reznor. So they were touring it together. It was also while Reznor was touring the Downward Spiral album. Their opening act was an industrial band called Prick. And they were...
You gotta love the grunge ages.
And they were fucking horrible. Now, Nails was phenomenal, and the transition from Nine Inch... Because they did it seamlessly. Bowie came on stage with Trent, and they sang Reptile, and then they did I'm Afraid of Americans, and then Trent and Nine Inch Nails walked off stage, and Bowie did the rest of his set. Seamless transit. The whole entire concert was great, except for the half an hour we had to sit through Prick. Yeah, so that's why I say Manson fans may be more for Manson than Nails. Nails fans may be more for Nails than Manson, but all of us can agree Prick sucks.
Most of us can probably agree that we don't even know who the fuck Prick is.
There you go.
So obviously they must suck like that.
All right, guys, but we're going to call this one an episode. I hope you enjoyed this video. We enjoyed giving it to you. Venus, why don't you go ahead and tell them what's coming tomorrow and where you can be found?
Oh, tomorrow, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It Had to Be Said with Venus, right here, wherever you're listening to it, on whichever platform. We're talking about ex-horror stories. It's still not too late to get your ex-horror story into me. You can find me on Facebook on Venus Chan. Just shoot me a message, or you can email me, venusuncensored@gmail.com. I usually always comment on these YouTube videos, but it's just my username at gmail.com, and we will read your story live on the air tomorrow, or you can even join us if you'd like.
There you go. And, of course, you can find me here at Realm of the Mist Podcast or wherever Realm of the Mist shows are heard, here on Anchor.fm or YouTube or Spotify or iTunes. Speaking of those, make sure you hit the go to the website, which is down in the description below. Make sure you hit the support icon for Anchor or for Patreon. Guys, every little bit helps. I want to be able to pay Venus and Brian, and I especially got to help Brian out, man. Right now, he really needs like his electric bill paid. He's gonna kill me.
He needs a new ass too, because his is cracked.
Yeah, he's got a crack in his...
than one.
we gotta buy him a new ass. Come on. All right, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with us, and I will catch you tomorrow night for Venus is It's Had to Be Said. Fuck exes. I don't know what it's going to be called, but it's going to deal with exes.
Ex-horror stories.
Ex-horror stories. Right here on Realm of the Mist Entertainment. Have a good night, guys.
Bye.